We are on week 11 of the Artist Way, which is all about recovering a sense of autonomy. Next week is the last week. I am so proud of myself. I've tried to do this before and it hasn't worked out, so yay! I would love to discuss a couple of the quotes with you and just this week's chapter in general. The first quote is actually a whole paragraph, but I feel like I need to say it all to get the point across. I am an artist. As an artist, I may need a different mix of stability and flow from other people. I may find that a 9-to-5 job steadies me and leaves me freer to create, or I may find that a 9-to-5 drains me of energy and leaves me unable to create. I must experiment with what works for me. This quote feels like a great reminder to listen to yourself and your intuition. You can receive all the advice in the world, but ultimately you only know what's right for you, and listening to those signals is key. Lately, I've been contemplating whether or not I want to continue tattooing. If you don't know, I'm currently a tattoo apprentice. If you've been following these videos, you probably have noticed the back and forth in my thoughts. It recently hit me that the way I feel about tattooing now is very similar to how I felt in the end of my previous relationship. For months, I wasn't in love with him anymore, but I just didn't want to believe it. I was just suppressing that hard because I didn't want to face the music. The inner turmoil and confusion was so draining and mentally exhausting and really emotional. That's exactly how I'm feeling about tattooing. I feel like my intuition is saying, you need to leave, this isn't it, you need to do YouTube. But my logical brain is being like, no, that can't be true. That cannot be true. And it is not true. You will continue. I started this YouTube channel on a whim. I was watching some cinematic content. I thought that seems really fun and I really want to do that. And I wanted to get more into photography. And I thought having a nice little camera would be perfect. So I bought this beautiful camera that I absolutely love. And now we're here today where it's making me question all my life choices up to this moment. My passion has grown for YouTube. I absolutely love every aspect of this. I feel like I've touched on this before, so I won't go too deep into it. But the comparison between how much I love YouTube and how much I want to do it and how much I love tattooing and how much I want to do that is black and white. It is black and white. With tattooing, I'm constantly questioning, doubting, and pushing against my feelings. But with YouTube, I feel so light, I feel so free, it feels so fun, it feels so effortless. There's definitely effort that goes into it, but I enjoy putting the effort in, whereas tattooing, I'm not enjoying it as much. And I know if I keep doing tattooing, because right now I'm kind of on a little bit of a break, I guess you could say. So I'm having a lot more time to do YouTube, but if I did tattooing, I would have a lot less time, and I don't know if I'd be able to keep pursuing this. So yeah, I think I've made my decision. I did my tarot cards. I don't know if you are into tarot cards or not, but it was so accurate. Let me read it to you. For the present moment, I got the 8 of Pentacles, which was work, dedication, learning a new skill, a time to focus steadily without concern for a reward or recognition, which I feel like is YouTube. Past/now, I got the 10 of Swords, which means mental distress, often exaggerated. Resistance to change worsens the situation. An extreme situation is already beginning to change. And then for the future, I got the 8 of Cups, which means leaving something behind, a quest for what's missing. Walk away from something before it ends. Seek what is missing. How could I not leave tattooing after I pulled those 3 cards? Do you see what I mean? There is absolutely no other choice for me. I must do what the cards say. I obey the cards at all costs. But yeah, it's so interesting. I usually pull a monthly spread to see what I need to focus on for the month, and the gods answered me. The gods, the higher power, the earth, Mother Nature has answered my cries. But the thought of me leaving tattooing and just focusing on this and getting a little job, maybe at like an art shop, and being able to completely focus on YouTube, it makes me so happy. The next quote that I found interesting was, "I need to create what wants to be created." This quote reminds me of this beautiful book, Art as Therapy, by Alan D. Bottom, John Armstrong. Alan D. Bottom and John Armstrong. I don't know how to say that first person's name, but beautiful book. I haven't finished it. As you can see, I need to make more time to read it. I've been dying to read it, but I've just been losing track of time recently. The book explores how we can express ourselves and process our emotions through art in a way that words can't. Lately, I have been feeling the pull to express certain emotions and experiences in my art. Maybe feelings of loss, past struggles, or moments of transitions that I may be currently in. It would be interesting to see if making those experiences into art helps me move through them, or if it will make me dwell on the past when I've worked so hard to move forward. I actually experimented with this idea in a recent piece, and I think it's one of my best works. I would say maybe. I mean, that's open for interpretation. The piece was about cycles I was stuck in, where I kept returning to the same dead end, trapped in reoccurring negative thoughts. Even though I was consciously aware of them, I was really struggling to detach myself. When I shared the piece, I wrote in the caption, "It's hard to chase the right words to explain my feelings, but I hope this piece gives you a sense of them." That's a good focus to have, to make people feel the emotion rather than explain it to them. But yeah, I love that quote. I think it's a really nice way to look at it and makes me want to create from emotion more. The next quote is, "Just when we get there disappears." I feel like we may have all heard this quote one way or another. I've heard it a lot in videos and podcasts from successful people that when they finally reach their goal, they realize they're not going to get the happiness that they desired or thought they would achieve. We're just always looking for more, and that's why I think it's so important to fall in love with the process rather than fixating on the end result, because you're going to spend 99% of the time in the process and 1% of the time on the end result. So if you're not enjoying the process, what is the point? I feel like once again, this is a nice reminder that I should not do tattooing, as I am not enjoying it. So why am I forcing myself to do it? The next quote that I found quite funny, to be honest, is, "We must summon our enthusiasm at gunpoint instead of reveling in each day's creative task." I think this is such a funny way to describe the feeling of forcing creativity. I have been there so many times where I thought by forcing myself to sit down at a desk and create something was the way to spark inspiration. But Julia has taught me that is not. It just doesn't sound humane, does it? You're forcing yourself to sit at a desk and come up with something. I don't know, it's weird. Like, discipline's a weird thing. It's like, but we're kind of just like forcing ourselves to do stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like, obviously discipline is good and I love discipline. It makes me feel good, but then also we're just forcing ourselves to do things. Once again, this reminds me of the stark contrast between tattooing and YouTube to me. One of them is effortless. One of them I am forcing myself. to do it every single time and causes me a lot of anxiety. I really liked the concept of the Zen of Sports section. I realized I was kind of unknowingly doing this by filming these videos. I'll go out on a little stroll, get some shots, and I really enjoy it. I love it so much, but it's definitely very meditative and I'm really in the present. I guess maybe I'm in the flow state. The start of this video, I decided to make the meditation process more intentional and be really present, but also letting my thoughts flow a little bit and not blocking them and forcing myself to not think about anything, which was really enjoyable. I feel like I haven't just let my thoughts flow consciously for a good while. I feel like I'm normally trying to make myself aware of not getting lost in my thoughts. I guess that was because I used to spiral a lot and get really deep in thoughts and they were just all negative. But I feel like my thoughts are quite positive now, so I guess I can let myself spiral, but in a good way. Those are my key takeaways from this week. I feel like I've had some big realizations this week so far. Not doing tattooing, and this book just kind of reinforcing, okay, I think I'm making the right decision. My artist date this week, I am going to go for a little stroll around the lake. I want to take my camera and kind of do what I did with the montage in the start of this video. I just want to go for a little stroll, take some videos, take some pictures, more focus on pictures as well. So yeah, I'm gonna do that. For my artist day, I decided to go to the lake near my house because I absolutely adore it. The flowers were blooming on the water, which was so nice. I haven't seen that before, so that was such a nice surprise. I really made an effort to be present and take in as much of my surroundings as I possibly could, and noticing all the little details, like how the leaves sit on the water. I don't know if you would call them leaves, but the different flowers I found along the way was really nice. How the water droplets are sitting on the swan. So pretty. Oh my goodness, I feel like I actually need to paint or draw something like that. I love that little detail. The swan swam up to me and we just hung out for a little bit. I really felt like we were coexisting together. I think he thought I had food, but I did not, unfortunately for him. It is now time to wrap up this video. I feel this week has been a scary but productive week. I have finally faced the fact that I don't actually want to do tattooing anymore, and I feel my decision is solidified. I'm going to confirm the end of my apprenticeship today by telling my mentor, which I am so scared about, but I am very excited. I need to just do it and I can move on with my life. I feel like this transition period is very distressing, to be honest, and anxiety inducing. I'm just keen to move on and get started on a new journey. Yay! Other than that, I feel this week has been really productive. I've been really good at sticking to my morning pages and stretching every morning. I've made a little morning routine for myself, which I love doing. I have put a little bit more effort into these videos by making a little animation for the quotes section, and in the start of this video I made the little swan swimming art piece. I also painted a little bit, which I did film, but I accidentally deleted the footage, so yay! As you can see, it is definitely not finished. I wanted to try paint it in black and white so then I can glaze over it. So yeah, I'm not rushing it. I'm just working on it when it feels right and not burning myself out by feeling the need to completely finish it ASAP. I'm just gonna work on it bit by bit. I cannot believe next week is the last week. What the hell? Let me know your thoughts and opinions on this week's chapter. If you're following along, how is your week gone? I would love to know. I'd love to have a little chat. I will see you next week, where we will be recovering a sense of faith. Yay! Bye.